Good evening and welcome to Munted News. Kamala Harris told us today a bold and refreshingly honest answer to a question that we all now feel has been sufficiently answered. Her Nike Airs were more stunning than ever in a stylish two-tone design of heliotrope and African American. I think I speak for everyone when I say we'd all love to see Kamala scissoring on stage with Cardi B. Am I right? How could I possibly not be right? There's nothing more empowering for an independent woman of colour than sitting spread-eagled on stage in front of millions, wearing the smashed remains of a My Little Pony trapper keeper and flailing at the mercy of a giant spinning ass on a stick, giving you a hysterectomy by sheer blunt force. Do it, Kamala, or else your white supremacy is showing. And speaking of which, the mindless violence that African people are being telepathically coerced by European people into committing against Asian people is a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory, sorry. And we don't know what to do, folks. We've had all the white people strung up in a chokehold for the last year. We've done nothing but tighten the thumb screws, and somehow racism still appears to be happening. But by which I mean white people are somehow still spreading these vicious viral rumours that anyone is racist except white people. Not only are we starting to run out of white people to sacrifice, we're even running out of Asians, which is odd because there's so bloody many of them. But now, in the absence, or at least shortage of, the usual human shock absorbers, we've found ourselves reduced to carjacking random packies and blaming it on... Is it still white people? It's still white people. Okay, yeah. 4 old white guys. No one ever expects the old white guy inquisition. But 300 old white men stole a car from a person of colour and promptly murdered that person of colour. And now the alternative media has begun blaming the victim as per usual. Why didn't you just shut up and let them take whatever they wanted? Stupid dead person, and so on and so on and so on. Don't listen to the alternative media. Alternatives are well known for causing brainwashing. I mean, doy! Stick to Munted News. This is Munted News. There is no alternative except brainwashing. People, buy what I say. I am not at all hollow. Our next story tonight. Listen. The way you want it, there's good and then there's I'm going to tell where and when there's going to be a zzz. Said Joe Biden earlier this month in a press conference. I don't know what happened. There was a dog over there, and then I heard a noise, and then suddenly there were no people on the bus, and suddenly there was no bus. I'm beginning to think I'm the demented one. This is Munted News. This is not a zoo. Please, this is not a zoo. Because a zoo is not bloody newsworthy. Even a human zoo is not bloody newsworthy. Gargantuan scales of shameless hypocrisy on the part of governing forces is bloody newsworthy. But don't worry, it's not happening. This is Munted News. Our bottom story this month. Several vigils have been held in and around the Greater London area in memory of the tragic death of the Magna Carta. The document was last seen crossing Clapham Common at 3 a.m, having broken COVID regulations to visit a non-essential friend of some sort, and was reported missing the following morning. The shredded lengths of sheepskin found in a waste paper basket in Kent are confirmed to be the remains of the parchment itself, or possibly just some leftover haggis. Green Party representative Baroness Jenny Jones, pictured here, is under police custody, accused of the kidnap and murder of the much-missed Magna Carta. Needless to say, she did it. Why else would anyone get arrested? The country is now hotly debating what is to be done about this scourge of female tyranny. Nobody feels safe knowing these monsters are wandering the corridors of power. God knows who or what they're going to ban from fresh air next. The important question now is not when should we impose the political curfew on all women, but the furthest extent to which we should afford this entirely necessary curfew on all women. All truly sensible and compassionate people are agreed. Women should not be allowed in the House of Commons after 11 a.m, should not be allowed in the House of Lords at all, and any woman venturing anywhere outside should be shot on sight if any officer of the law perceives her to be offside. Or potentially stirring up an incident of offside. Baroness Jones is believed to have had an accomplice, but that accomplice is not believed to be guilty of anything due to extenuating genetic characteristics. Certainly no evidence of any non-essential journeys or what have you. Absolutely no traces of racial hate speech anywhere, so no sanctions necessary. Don't you just love it when the cookie crumbles? This is Munted News, where 2 wrongs plus 1 right equals 5. In lighter news, schools and colleges all over Britain have finally reopened this month. The nation rejoiced as the classrooms and playgrounds could once again fill up with crowds of Muslims threatening to murder anyone who says "Rule Britannia." It's just a relief. It's just such a relief to finally get back to normal, said Al-Ram, a local neighbourhood murder threatener, as he brandished a scourge of cords and chased a gaggle of dinner ladies across a hopscotch court. All we're asking for is respect, the bespectacled sage decreed, between thrashes. By the way, if anyone asks, I'm morally white, he continued majestically over the horizon. I just can't believe they've done this to us for so long, said name redacted, from behind her stylish niqab. All year we've been forced to wear masks and stay inside and refrain from alcohol and premarital sex. It's a blooming nightmare, I tells you. Anyway, if you will excuse me, I need to get back to loudly demanding the universal imposition of Sharia. The modest crowds of austere religious scholars have begun tearing down every poster on the walls of every classroom, deeming them all to be offensive, following the latest decision to make it illegal on pain of death to draw or produce any picture at all that can be perceived as stirring up images of the Prophet. So far, 3,000 boys have been ritually beheaded over their blasphemous potato prints in a series of mostly peaceful anti-racist massacres. The few outcrops of male pupils still left alive have been forced to apologise for their systematic Islamophobia. And not to worry, not to you the worry the anything. The government is issuing a vaccine to sort all of this out. And you all have to take it, except the Muslims. That would be racist. We asked the Teachers' Union for their thoughts on the whole situation. They commented, "Wait, what? They're reopening? This is an outrage!" Whereupon they took to the streets in protest and are demanding an apology from male fetuses everywhere. This is Munted News. Our next story. A Tonka toy has been delicately placed across a weak stream of piss in a sandpit, costing the economy $5.23. Might as well be what happened this month. Billions of dollars wasted, you say? What, billions? What? The amount we've already been pissing away every week for a year? Yeah, come back in another distant decade when we're not already conducting an international money-burning experiment, and maybe I'll run with your, oh wow, someone lodged a shopping cart in a sewage outflow story. Get the fuck directly Tifa. It wouldn't matter if someone lodged an entire aircraft carrier big enough to come up the entire Gibraltar Strait, draining the entire Mediterranean. It would still be less of a disaster than the great authoritarian torture binge of the 2020s. I have the most horrible feeling I just gave someone an idea. Bollocks to it. I might as well report on it now, since it's bound to happen with all these bloody Bond villains running around. The Mediterranean Sea has collapsed and evaporated entirely away from the landscape due to a colossal statue of an upright fist being erected at Gibraltar Rock. And the middle finger broke off and went into the strait. Every coastal region, formerly coastal region of the Mediterranean is now a starved network of mountain towns fighting over who gets all the dead sheep. Not to worry, though. Not to worry though. The government's working on a vaccine that will definitely fix whatever's going on here, and you're banned from saying it won't, and you're banned from not taking it. In the meantime, stay at home in your government-issued kennel. Eat 5 healthy fruit flies a day, and make sure you start wearing 13 blindfolds instead of 12. It's just common sense. This will all be over in 2 weeks. Whoops, we meant fuck you forever, literally forever, fuck you. And if you travel abroad legally, we will charge you $5,000. But if you travel here illegally, we'll effectively give you $5,000 worth of resources. Tell you what, how about if everyone in the world, if we all just get up and move counterclockwise to the next country over, we'll all be illegal immigrants. And then none of us will require vaccine passports or regular passports or voter ID or taxes or any obligation to follow the law whatsoever. Then we truly will be equitable. Technically, it would be a form of anarchy, but hey, it's never been tried before. That's a fun to sell. Quite the panjandrum. No? Alright, this is Munted News. Good night, good luck, and good for whatever it was I used to say. And put the knife in me and look me in the eye and see what's going on in there when you turn it. Amen!